Mr. Anderson Podcast.
My podcast show, Mr. Anderson Podcast, on all platforms: Amazon Music, Spotify, iHeart. Tap me in, listen to me, get at me. Mr. Anderson TV News. Mr. Anderson CEO313 on Instagram. I design coats, jackets. Just the jacket you see right here. I do body oils, air fresh, homemade candles, and I'm
AI jackets out now.
Man, they got him, man. The perks is finally caught up. They can say I'm on horse, he's on dog, man. We knew it.
What y'all doing?
Still ain't even though.
Like this bitch up, what's up?
This is Devontae Beach, known to the world as EST Big Beach, a 21-year-old man who dedicated his life to transforming the streets of Louisville, Kentucky. A man who coached the #1 Little League football team in the entire country for 3 consecutive years and helped secure Division I scholarships for at least 10 to 15 young athletes from his hometown. But in the early morning hours of July 21st, 2024, his life would be violently cut short in downtown Louisville, found shot multiple times inside a vehicle around 1:30 in the morning, just hours after managing what should have been the biggest night of his career. What you're about to discover will show you exactly why this wasn't just another street casualty, and the killer is still out there.
Right. Beach was a person, Beach he coached the #1 Little League team in the country for like 3 years. So I just hate how in the newspaper they were just trying to make it like a gang member got killed, and he never been registered as no gang member.
On July 20th, 2024, ESTG's Summer Jam Homecoming concert at the KFC Yum Center was a massive success. The venue was packed with thousands of fans who had come to see Louisville native George Albert Stone III, better known as ESTG, perform alongside high-profile guests including Lil Baby, 42 Dugg, Yo Gotti, and Future. This was a homecoming, a celebration of ESTG's rise from the dangerous streets of Louisville to becoming a CMG record signee with over 1 million social media followers. Big Beach had been instrumental in making this night happen. As ESTG's manager and booking agent, he handled the logistics for events like the Summer Jam, coordinating what would become a sold-out show. The arena was electric with energy, the performance was flawless, and everything seemed to be going exactly as it planned. But beneath the surface of celebration, there was an undercurrent of tension that law enforcement had picked up on long before the first note was played. The Louisville Metro Police Department wasn't taking any chances with this event. Due to intelligence gathered in advance, LMPD implemented robust security measures, deploying over 80 officers, including members of the Special Response Team, SWAT, Air Unit, and Criminal Interdiction Division from 4 p.m. until midnight. This massive show of force totaled more than 600 hours of overtime, costing over $44,000, which the promoter agreed to reimburse. Why such extreme measures? The concern stemmed from ESTG's validated gang affiliations and tips about potential attempts to smuggle guns into the venue. Despite these precautions, no weapons were discovered at the arena and no arrests occurred during the event itself. The concert concluded without incident, and the massive police presence began to disperse as the clock approached midnight. Big Beach must have felt relieved as the event wrapped up successfully. All that planning, all that coordination, all those security concerns, and everything had gone smoothly. The fans were happy, ESTG had delivered an incredible performance, and the homecoming concert was everything they had hoped it would be. But as the crowds dispersed into the Louisville night and the police presence thinned out, someone was waiting. Around 1:30 in the morning on July 21, 2024, Louisville Metro Police Department officers arrived on the 800 block of West Main Street following reports of gunfire. The location was chilling in its proximity, near the iconic Louisville Slugger Museum and Factory and just a few blocks from the KFC Yum Center. This was the heart of downtown Louisville, a bustling area that should have still had some activity from stragglers leaving the concert. When officers secured the scene, they made a horrific discovery. Inside a vehicle, they found Devontae Beach suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. Emergency medical services were summoned immediately, but it was already too late. Beach was pronounced dead at the scene. His life ended in a hail of bullets just hours after orchestrating one of the biggest concerts Louisville had seen in years. The Jefferson County Coroner's Office would later officially identify him, but everyone in ESTG's circle already knew. The news was spreading through Louisville like wildfire. The brutality of the attack was evident. Beach was shot multiple times, suggesting this wasn't a random act of violence or a robbery gone wrong. This was an execution. Interim LMPD Chief Paul Humphrey would later describe the shooting as a selfish, unconscionable, targeted incident, making it clear that authorities believed Beach had been specifically marked for death. This wasn't a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Someone had intentionally tracked him down in downtown Louisville and murdered him in cold blood. Why? To understand why Big Beach was murdered, you need to understand the complex world he navigated, a world where being a positive force in the community didn't necessarily protect you from the violence that plagued Louisville's streets. Beach wasn't just ESTG's manager. He and ESTG were longtime friends, both associated with the Everybody Shine Together, or EST Collective, which has been labeled a gang by authorities. The EST Collective's history with law enforcement was complicated and violent. In 2021, federal and local law enforcement indicted 10 EST members on drug trafficking and firearms charges, uncovering significant contraband, including $160,000 in cash, stolen vehicles, and weapons. It was a massive bust that showcased the scale of illegal operations connected to the EST name. However, neither Beach nor ESTG faced charges in that case, maintaining their distance from the direct criminal activity even as they remained connected to the broader EST movement. But the affiliations fueled endless speculation about possible motives tied to rivalries or ongoing conflicts. The question was whether Beach's murder was retaliation for something ESTG or another EST member had done, or if it was personal to Beach. Community advocate Demetrius McDowell, a former gang member and founder of the nonprofit Bosses Not Bangers, offered a nuanced view of Louisville's violence, suggesting that the city's conflicts often arise from neighborhood disputes and economic pressures rather than structured gang operations in the traditional sense. He highlighted Beach's positive contributions, portraying him as a mentor who balanced community involvement with his music career. This perspective painted a more complete picture of who Beach was, not just a gang affiliate, but a coach for the Louisville Chargers youth football team, a father, and a businessman trying to elevate his community.
Right. Beach was a person he coached the #1 Little League team in the country for like 3 years, you know what I'm saying? Like, #1, he's out there, him and Jew, you feel me?
Beach and his partner Jew had built the #1 Little League team in the country together, with ESTG and other coaches supporting them financially by donating money for uniforms and equipment.
Beach done been at practices in the city, like day for day at the same place for years, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing never happened to him. Nobody never shot at him, never been no threat.
This consistency made his murder even more shocking. For years, Beach had maintained the same routine, then in the same locations, worked with the same community. Nobody had ever shot at him, there had never been any threats, he had never been to jail for being a gang member. He had somehow managed to navigate Louisville's dangerous streets while staying completely above the violence, until July 21st, 2024. The investigation into Beach's murder immediately became the LMPD homicide unit's top priority, but progress was frustratingly slow. As of today, no suspects have been identified, and no motive has been publicly disclosed. Chief Humphrey noted it was premature to speculate, urging the public to provide tips anonymously via 502-574-LMPD or the online portal. The media coverage that followed Beach's death added insult to injury for those who knew him. Instead of focusing on his accomplishments and contributions to the community, many outlets defaulted to the gang affiliation narrative.
I just hate how in the newspaper they were just trying to make it like a gang member got killed, like and he never been registered as no gang member.
ESTG's frustration was palpable and justified. Beach had never been registered as a gang member, had never been to jail for gang activity, had spent years working in the same location without incident. Yet when he was murdered, the easiest narrative for the media was to paint him as just another gang casualty. It was lazy journalism that erased everything Beach had accomplished. The Division I scholarships he helped secure for at least 10 to 15 young athletes from his hometown. The 4- and 5-star recruits he developed from Louisville's toughest neighborhoods.
He done adopted kids from that team, like more than at least probably 10, 15 of them got D1 scholarships. They 4- and 5-stars right now from the city of Louisville, Kentucky. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff that never happened. And all y'all can say is a gang member, like, what? It don't even make no sense. Like, why would y'all categorize it as anything but a positive, you know what I'm saying, role model for the kids, or you know, whatever, however y'all can put it.
The ripple effects of Big Beach's murder extended far beyond the immediate tragedy of losing one man.
ESTG's manager was just shot and killed. To his family and friends, but man, I just hope this doesn't lead into what I think is gonna lead. Because I mean, judging off EST's music, it sounds like he's about to go crash out.
His death exposed the vulnerability of everyone connected to Louisville's rap scene and raised uncomfortable questions about whether success and positive community involvement could ever truly protect you from street violence. The concern in the hip-hop community was universal. Everyone familiar with ESTG's music knew what he was capable of and what his lyrics represented.
Man, we don't need to see no more young black men dying over this rap shit. You know, well, whatever their beef is, I'm sure it's beyond rap, because it was in his hometown of Louisville, Kentucky. And if you know anything about First 48, you know Louisville is a dangerous place.
Beach's murder wasn't an isolated incident. It was part of Louisville's ongoing struggle with homicides and gun violence. And tragically, it wouldn't be the last loss for ESTG's circle. Just weeks later, on August 10th, 2024, artist EST Lou Mike, whose real name was Mike S. Morris, was fatally shot in a separate event at a Louisville gas station. 2 members of ESTG's circle murdered within weeks of each other. The pattern was undeniable and terrifying. Louisville's reputation as a dangerous city was well earned. The city's struggles with gun violence and unresolved homicides persist amid efforts to address root causes like poverty and rivalries. Beach's case became another statistic in a city where too many murders go unsolved, where witnesses stay silent, and where the cycle of violence continues unabated. How did the shooter manage to execute Beach in such a public location without being seen or leaving behind evidence that would lead to an arrest? Was it someone Beach knew? Someone he trusted enough to be in a vehicle with? Or was it an ambush, with the shooter approaching quickly and disappearing just as fast? Let me know what you think in the comment section. The fact that Beach was found inside a vehicle raises questions about what he was doing at that location at 1:30 in the morning. The authorities have never released details about whether Beach was the driver or a passenger, whether there was anyone else in the vehicle, or what led him to be at that specific location. The silence from investigators is deafening. No ballistics information has been shared publicly, no surveillance footage has been released, and no witness accounts have emerged.
Questions directed at the Yum Center after a shooting leaves a man dead right after a rap concert 2 blocks from the venue. Wave News troubleshooter Natalia Martinez did some investigating, and it turns out there were concerns over potential violence the Yum Center was aware of, and she joins us now with the real story.
The performer was ESTG, or George Stone. Stone has been shot twice himself before, and several of his crew members are now in prison for gang activity, including drugs and guns. LMPD had intelligence saying things could turn violent, and outside the venue, they did. Here are the gunshots outside of the Kentucky Science Center, a children's museum, forced to close Sunday after a deadly shooting following a concert at the Yum Center 2 blocks down. The victim, Devontae Beach, a Little League football coach and on social media, connected as the manager of the performer that night, ESTG, also known as George Stone. We don't know the motive for the shooting, but we do know that there were concerns about violence prior to the concert taking place. LMPD sources tell me they had intelligence indicating so, and that the Yum Center knew, but the concert happened anyway. Inside the concert, things were secured. The Yum Center enhanced their security and said they were thankful for a safe environment inside. LMPD also beefed up their efforts significantly too. That's because they know of the gang ties surrounding Stone's crew. Here's the press release from the feds after the FBI arrested several of his business partners, including Eric Mosley, his previous manager. Drugs and guns. And here's the receipt when Wave troubleshooters uncovered Stone himself bailed out a man now convicted of murdering a 3-year-old child and her father. The Science Center and surrounding businesses now picking up the broken glass while a family mourns the death of another victim of violence. The mayor's office referred me to LMPD. They did say, though, that battling violence is a top priority. The shooting happened at one of the most popular parts of town for businesses and visitors alike, trying to make the downtown safe, proving to be a challenge.
This could mean the investigation is ongoing and authorities don't want to compromise their case by revealing too much. Or it could mean they simply don't have enough evidence to move forward. Either way, the result is the same. Beach's family, friends, and community are left without answers or justice. Social media reactions amplified the tragedy, with tributes from outlets like My Mixtapes and XXL Magazine expressing condolences and noting the circumstances of his death.
A gang member coaching them or somebody that can put them in danger.
But my point is, there'd be a lot of guys like that in the community all over the country, and then they get caught up in something, and the media put mustard on these dudes' jackets.
Crazy.
You know what I mean?
And then a place like Louisville, we don't really got no, it ain't like it might be, I might be wrong, but I don't think it's not a lot of real visible independent media where you can get like unbiased, you know what I'm saying, information about what happened. So it's real, like, you know what I'm saying, like, it's real political, you know what I'm saying, it's Louisville.
And you know, media today, the story is better to run with. He was a gang member to run with. He was somebody that helped.
That's gonna get you a rewrite. You gonna get to do another spinoff of it in a couple weeks.
You know, we living in the media days where the negative is always better than the positive.
We gotta value life, though. You know what I'm saying? We gotta value life, legacy, and our names. Ain't nobody perfect, but let's not put nothing on nobody that it ain't. You know what I'm saying?
But that's why we got a platform.
For sure.
And you expressing right now, and you keeping his legacy alive right now, and you telling who Beach was right now.
For sure.
You feel what I'm saying?
For sure.
ESTG's question cut to the heart of a larger issue about how black men in America, particularly those from inner cities and connected to hip-hop, are portrayed when tragedy strikes. Why was the default assumption that Beach must have deserved what happened because of gang affiliations? Why couldn't the narrative focus on the hundreds of lives he touched positively? The media's framing revealed a troubling tendency to reduce complex individuals to simple categories, especially when those individuals are young black men from disadvantaged communities. The unsolved nature of Beach's murder speaks to the challenges Louisville faces in resolving cases amid local violence patterns and witness reluctance. In many urban communities, talking to police is seen as snitching, even when it means allowing a killer to remain free. This code of silence protects criminals while leaving families without closure and communities without justice. As of late 2025, the investigation remains open with no suspects identified. Beach's killer or killers have evaded justice for over a year, likely still walking the streets of Louisville. Click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this.